Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well at home. My name is Rachel English. I am a teacher at the Academy of Northern Ballet and a qualified physiotherapist. Today's workout is going to be for our core stability, which, depending on your level, can help with strength or with activation of your core stabilisers. Before you start, make sure that you've read the Northern Ballet disclaimer, and I also recommend just doing your own warm-up as well. So, to start with, just to switch all of the stabilisers on, we're going to lay down onto the mat and we're going to tuck the feet up. And you need to make sure for this one that your spine is fully engaged with your mat. Hands can be on the floor, or to make it slightly more challenging, you can bring them up into first position. And we're just going to walk the feet out slowly, all the way down, and then slowly coming back in. And I want you to focus on keeping the pelvis nice and still. So we're going to try not to go from side to side or up and down. Again, if you want to make it slightly more challenging, you can take the feet just slightly wider than the hips, and it's still that same walking out, it's just slightly wider. So bringing the feet in, we're just going to do this 8 times to activate all those muscles. Off we go. So we're going out, 2, 3, 4, and coming back in, 6, 7, 8. And again, checking that the spine is still fully engaged with the mat. 3, 4, and in, 6, 7, 8. And we're still scooping the tummy up. 2, 3, 4, and in, 6, 7, 8. And you can always pop your hands on your pelvis just to feel for any movement. Bring it in, 7, 8, and out, 2, 3, 4, keeping the pelvis nice and still, 6, 7, 8, going out, 2, 3, 4, and in, 6, 7, 8. 2 more, check the spine, check that you're still scooping up, 3, 4, and we're really focusing on keeping the pelvis nice and stable, and back in. Last one, going out, 2, 3, 4, and in, 6, 7, 8. Good. We're going to stay in this position and we're just going to make things slightly harder now. So if you take your feet a little bit further out, and we're going to work in opposition. So we're lifting and elongating out the opposite arm to leg, and they're both just slightly off the floor. And I want you to focus in the same place. So where the spine is still engaged, we're lifting the tummy, scooping the tummy up, and we're trying as much as we can to keep the pelvis nice and stable without any movement, particularly from side to side. If you want to make this slightly harder, you can work the arms from first and then coming back into that first position. We're just going to do this one 10 times. So nice and controlled, going out and back to the center. Other side, 2, and in, 3, and in, other side, 4, and in. Check we're scooping up and that everything's feeling nice and stable. and in. 6, and feel really long through that line, so we're pulling out through the toe and through the fingertips. 8, focusing on the pelvis. 9, and 10, back into the center. Good. So the next one, still from this position, we're going to lift up into a bridge. Now when you go into the bridge, don't curl through the spine to go up for this one. We're going to lift straight up, so we're also switching on the hamstrings and the glutes. And from here we're going to take some marches in bridge position. As you lift that leg up, really think about the same thing, keeping your pelvis very still, so we're not moving from side to side and we're not tilting forwards or back. So we need to think of scooping up the front again and feeling that the spine is nice and long and stable. If you want to make this one more challenging, you can take your hands off the mat and put them in first position, and that will really challenge the deep stabilizers quite a lot more. And again, we're just going to do 10 of these. So lifting straight up without a curl, and then we're going to lift one leg up, keeping the pelvis still, and down, and it's quite slow, and then the other side. 2, and we're really working not to tilt from side to side. 3, so think of your weight staying right in the center of your body. 4, and try not to drop the pelvis as you lift up. 5, and not too high with the leg. 6, 7, stay lifted. 8, 9, last one, 10, and then on the way down you can curve the spine to come through. Good. Okay, so for the next exercise we're going to move over onto our front, because we need to think about the muscles down the spine as well. And the arms are going to be down at the side of the body. Keep the neck nice and long, and we're going to lift the head and shoulders off the floor, keeping that long line of the spine. And as you lift up, you need to still think about scooping the tummy off the floor, so everything is still really engaged. If you want to make this slightly harder, you can put the hands up onto the forehead through that same technique of lifting. Okay, and 10 times for this one. So check the neck, check you're scooping up off the floor. Feel that the back is nice and wide. Off we go. 1, and down, nice and smooth. 2, 3, 4, and checking that your scoop is still switched on as you get to the top of that lift. 5, 6, long neck. 7, 8, 9, still lifting up, and 10. Stretch out the back, so toes together, knees slightly apart, and just reach forward with the hands. So we're just stretching out the muscles down the side of the spine especially. And then we're going to go back to that same position, so onto our front, but this time the arms are going to be above the head. And we're going to work in opposition again for this one, so we're lifting the opposite arm to leg. You're still keeping the neck nice and long, and you're still switching on your scoop at the front as you lift up, especially at the top of that line. So we're just making it slightly harder now, and we're going to do 10. So lifting up, 1, and down, and not too high, 2, 3, and a feeling of pulling out of the fingertips and out of the toes, 4, check the scoop, 5, shoulders down and feel like the back is really wide, 6, especially across the scapula, 7, 8, 9, reaching nice and long, and last one, 10, and down. And we'll just stretch out one more time, toes together, knees slightly apart, just releasing the back muscles. Okay, good. So next exercise, we're going to think about the muscles going down the side. So if you have any shoulder or neck injuries, I recommend missing this exercise out. If not, you're going to make sure that the shoulder is in line with the elbow, shoulders are in line with the hips, and the knees are just slightly forward of the hips, so we're not putting any pressure on your lower spine. The hand is going to be placed on the waist, or if you want to make it slightly harder, you can lift that arm up into 5th position. And we're just going to make sure that we're keeping the alignment, and the pelvis should be in neutral alignment as well, so that the spine is nice and long. We're just going to lift up off the floor and back down. And back down. We're just going to do it 10 times on each side. So into that position, check all those points of alignment, scooping up still so our pelvis is in neutral. And we're lifting up and down. 2. And it's still nice and controlled. 3. And we're trying to keep the neck in line with the spine as well. 4. 5. 6. So we're working the obliques here as well in the correct alignment. 8. Last one. 10. Moving over onto the other side. So check the alignment first. Shoulder and elbow, shoulder and hips, knees slightly further forward. Lifting up, pelvis in neutral alignment, off we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Last exercise for today. We're going to come up onto your knees, check that your knees and your hips are in line, and the shoulders and the wrists are in line as well. Check that the neck is not dropped, so the neck is in line with the rest of the spine, and we're scooping up through the front. You're going to lift one leg off and back down, and then we're going to work the opposite side. To make this harder, you can lift the opposite arm to leg, and this one is really going to work all of those core stability muscles. And as you're doing that, you're checking that there's no movement through the pelvis from side to side. We're not tilting, we're not dropping. And you're trying to think of your weight staying right in the middle, so right along that center line, so we're not moving from side to side. And these should be nice and slow and controlled. And again, we're going to do 10. So check your alignment first, shoulders and wrists, hips and knees, lifting up, nice long spine. Off we go. 1, and slowly back into your center. As you get to the top of this line here, just check that you've not dropped through the abdominals. So you're still scooping up. 3. And because we're working quite hard now, just check that you're not lifting the shoulders as you take that line. 4. Really focusing on your pelvis and your weight placement. And back down, still really lifting up the center. 7. 8. 9, not dropping through the shoulders. And 10. Good. Toes together, knees apart, just stretch out the spine again one more time. Good. Well done. So, just a few exercises there to help maintain our core stability while we're all still at home. I've also filmed an abdominal workout which can be found on our Instagram and our Facebook page as well. I hope you've enjoyed the exercises and thank you for joining me.